So, Bat Family, this video is going to be an interesting one because I've never done this before, and I think that this is a video that has been suggested by you guys ever since, really, I started this channel, probably around the Gotham Season 3 reviews. So, this video is going to be the top Batsuits in live action ranked from worst to best. And I don't really like saying that because I do appreciate each and every Batsuit in their own way. But, you know, it's just a ranking. And this is my taste. Everyone has a different taste. It's not based on the excellence of the materials compared to, like, the most recent iteration. Do you know what I mean? It's just taste. That's all it is. So I'd love to know your rankings down in the comments below. Coming in last place is the 1949 Batman and Robin, the Robert Lowry suit. I hope I didn't butcher his second name there. I think you can understand why. One thing I really like about this suit, and this comes into my reasoning for why another suit is better than the Adam West suit, in my opinion, is that I do like the logo. Obviously, though, the cowl and everything like that, when it comes to talking about these old suits, it's kind of hard for me to articulate. Because at the end of the day, this is personal preference, it is taste. You know, some people may have the Michael Keaton suit, for example, above the BVS suit or something like that. And that's because it's iconic to them. Whereas a different audience may feel like, you know, the BVS suit is more iconic to them versus the Michael Keaton suit. So it's always hard because me pointing out things like, oh, this looks like a set of pajamas, other people may still value suits like this bigger than other suits. So it's hard for me to say, but for me, this comes in at last place. I believe I've got like 15 rankings. Do point out in the comments below if I forgot any particular one. Obviously, this is 1949, and for what they did have involved in this suit, it does actually really appeal to me in terms of the boldness. Obviously, in black and white, it does help this suit pop out a lot more. However, what speaks to me is the emblem and the cowl. I know it's pajama-esque, but I do prefer that a lot more than, even though this is in last place, than some even future designs of the Batsuit. But overall, the reason why it comes in last is because, well, you'll see why in a couple of seconds. So, coming in second to last is the Batman and Robin 1997 George Clooney suit. I'm not on about the first suit. I'm on about the second suit. The one that they basically made to freaking sell more toys. It's just, I get what they were going for. And just thinking 90s in my head, like, it does oddly fit the 90s idea of, well, just of what they probably would be imagining at the time is cool. But yeah, it just looks atrocious to me. I do obviously appreciate the armored look in certain areas, and it does have some clean aspects to it if I'm being very generous. But you know, what you're probably seeing on screen and what I'm seeing right now, it's just like, dude, like, there's so many reasons why this is wrong. There's so many reasons. For me, this is why it's right at the bottom of the list. It just looks eccentric. The silver trimming to it is just, I can try and place myself into their imagination and see some reasons for this, but ultimately we know it's just for merch. So there you go. Do I really need to say anymore? Now, next up is the Adam West suit. I know so many people love Adam West Batman for so many different reasons. I don't ever knock that, but for me, I really don't particularly care about it. I just don't. And I consider myself a very big Batman fan. And I know some people dig in, say, you're not a true Batman fan. But it's like, no, for me, just put all of that aside. That has nothing to do with being in the fandom of Batman, whether you prefer one thing or another thing. It's just taste. And for this suit, I don't like it. I just don't. I don't know. I obviously put it above the Robert Lowry suit, but I prefer the actual black Batman emblem. And that's always my preference with any Batman emblem. The only reason I would like yellow put into the suit is just like a trimming, you know, like in the comics. I don't believe we've seen that in live action yet. I don't, well, not like in the way I'm talking about at least. I don't dig any of it, to be honest with you. It's obviously a very specific stylized Batman. That show was obviously very comedic. It's not really the kind of Batman flavor I appreciate, even though this was very deliberately done in a certain way. Like, but I still don't care for it. So I'm sorry if I offend any of you for saying that. But yeah, going in at number 12, I believe, is Lewis Wilson's The Batman suit from 1943. Yes, I put that above Adam West, and I think you should know why based on what I've already been saying, and that probably is just the logo. I do prefer the cowl, even though this is very Walmart Halloween. Like, if you want to take your kid for a Halloween party or something, and you don't have all the money in the world to spend on the most amazing cosplay, it's like one of those paperist kind of ones you put over you. But I prefer the cowl over the Adam West very short cowl ears, but I prefer the belt, funnily enough. The logo it's just more to the liking in terms of the very core concept of what I like about Batman's suit, or what I imagine to be the perfect Batman suit over Adam West's. Adam West definitely has obviously elements that future iterations took inspiration from, but this is, I would say, the more accurate one. For me, at least. And yeah, honestly, I'd be very interested to know, do you prefer this 1943 The Batman suit over the Adam West 66 Batman suit? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally getting there. A bit more to the juicy stuff now. So this is, for me, number 11, Gotham's live-action Batsuit. Yeah, it is quite far down on the list. And don't get me wrong, I do appreciate aspects of it, but overall, I think everyone can agree this suit was massively disappointing. Now, I know some fans out there are going to say, but what do you expect? It was just for like a 5-second scene at the end of the episode. But honestly, that cowl just looks like it's been chiseled out of cardboard. Like a truly, like a kindergarten kid's cosplay. Chiseling a little bit of cardboard or something. It just looks awful. One thing I do really like is the emblem. It's a bit too big. I prefer if they kept that design but made it a bit smaller. There's other aspects to it which I really don't like for it, but I'm looking at multiple photos right now. It looks better on like a suit display at Comic-Con or wherever this is, rather than the actual episode. I know this is meant to be kept in mind with the fact that it's meant to be very year one, I'm guessing, Batman for Bruce in that time in the episode. It's meant to be simpler, but it's still, they could have done a much better job. I do like the kind of cape concept. I don't like necessarily the way it turned out, but I do like the way it kind of comes over in an animated series kind of vibe. I hate the sock look of the Under Armour. So you got the torso kind of plates there, but underneath that, the Under Armour has absolutely no texture to it. It's just a sock. It's like a gimp suit. It's a flat thing like you would wear as a thermal layer when you're going out on a motorcycle ride. So you can see it very obviously through the neck there. This suit could have been decent, but it just isn't, unfortunately. It's just so disappointing. At number 10 is the Val Kilmer Batman Forever 1995 sonar suit. It's better than the Gotham one, I think, for obvious reasons, just because like it is generally a better suit. I mean, in my opinion, as I said, this may sound contradictory at points because I guess this is just taste. But I do believe that this is a better suit at the end of the day. However, there's certainly aspects I really still don't like to it. For example, the bat emblem is decent, but like I feel like it's been freaking puppet warped on Photoshop, like stretched out. It would have been a lot better with a slightly more discreet symbol. Still big, but like not like stretched like that. Other than that, I think it is a half decent suit. It is like the second suit in the movie, I believe, if memory serves me well. I don't like the sonar aspect of it. Obviously, I prefer the much more dark black Batman Forever suit that we got. This is why this is so down on the list, and I felt like I had to mention it. Once again, this suit looks better on an armor stand versus the ones that I feel like are in these promo shots. So I'm probably showing you alternative in real life kind of shots of the sonar suit, and it does come off better. And obviously, to me at least, that is better than the Gotham suit. Just design wise and the way they produced it just is. Maybe that's being unfair to the Gotham suit because it was for a 10-second scene, whatever, and more effort was put into this one. But yeah, it just looks better. Now, what ranks in at number 9 above that one is the Batman and Robin 1997 George Clooney suit. The first one, that is. Yes, I know it's got the nipples, but it's still better, in my opinion. As I say, I don't like a lot of these shots. I don't know what it is about the promo shots. I feel like they make it look worse sometimes. Better than the second suit he gets in the movie. I do believe, in my taste, it's just better than the sonar suit we just went over because it's more of the black bat design. I think Clooney there really does look like such a good Batman with his like jawline and just his face showing through the cowl there. The ears are a bit too big for my liking, but as I say, that's personal preference. I I think remove the freaking nipples on that suit, it would have been so much better. I think it could have done with a little bit of yellow in this suit. I feel like this design is so dark that it could benefit from some subtle hints of yellow, even if it was just trimmings, maybe a little bit in the belt there. But overall, I feel like it does deserve whereabouts it is on my list. Number 8, going back to Val Kilmer, the first suit. The first suit of that movie is a much bigger improvement. Just to reiterate though, I'm not a huge fan of these, but obviously I still had to include these in the ranking, especially for my taste and for my age and where I appreciate. I mean, obviously I'm a big Batman fan, and you can have completely different tastes no matter your age. It's a cleaner, more I don't know, modernized-esque version for the time that it was on those Burton suits. And yes, I know it's still got the freaking nipples, but yeah, I think what they did here in terms of some of the previous suits of its time is they made it a lot more of a one-piece thing, a less of a rubbery look, which, you know, so many people love the Keaton suit, don't get me wrong. I really think it's iconic as well. But with that suit, it just the thing that lets it down, but I guess it was a product of its time, was just the way I felt like it went together. It just didn't feel so seamless as what this suit attempted to be. I feel like the Bruce underneath the mask, though, in terms of obviously Val Kilmer, he doesn't pull it off for me. I feel like he's too baby-faced. That's just my opinion. Now, I suppose I did have to chuck this one in here at number 7 because it still is technically Batman in a Batman suit, and that is the Nightmare Batsuit, you know, Ben Affleck. The thing about this is, I do think to myself, why is he wearing a trench coat? It's not like he's hiding his armor if he's wearing that cowl, but it is still really cool though. I can't deny it. Like the attention to detail, the production that went into that suit is very incredible. It really is. But obviously, it's not the traditionalist, look to Batman. He normally is without the trench coat and the cape is flowing kind of thing. That's the only reason it is where it is. Just from my tastes of this video, it's about ranking the Batsuits, I suppose, in a traditional way. Now, this is very quality and has much more quality over the following suits you're about to hear, ranked above this in different areas. But for me, it's not a traditional Batsuit. That doesn't mean it's not a cool Batsuit, but I do feel like it's a little bit outside the margin of what I'm kind of going for here in this video, and that's why it is right here. Now, at number 6 is the Batman 89 Michael Keaton suit. I may as well chuck in the Batman Returns slightly improved suit version as well in here, and we're most likely going to see this again in the Flash movie, and I'm so fascinated to see, just going a bit off topic here, how they bring that one back. Are they literally going to bring the exact same one back? I don't think they should. I really do feel like they should maintain the exact same concept, but bring it to modernized materials. Like, why would Michael Keaton's Batman be wearing the exact same suit as what he did years and years and years ago at a much older age? It should be better materials, very modernized version. And that's the thing about this suit. It's so iconic. And the way it just is in the lighting of the movie and in the silhouette is what gives it such charm, whether it's just on the cowl stand or just hanging up there in the cave. I think it's brilliant for so many reasons, and probably as well it's one of the best Batsuits we got, as of when it was 1989, of course, probably for the first time. Like, it was the best live action Batsuit ever, of when this movie was obviously out and everyone was just consuming it. However, there are newbie aspects to it that I can't really get on board with, but that is because I understand it was a product of its time. This is why I really hope they kind of clean it up a little bit more for the Flash movie. Another thing I really like about this suit as well is just the shin guards. I guess, would you call them shin guards? Just like the plating on the armor on his lower legs. I don't know, I just really appreciate that detail. Now, guys, number 5, let me adjust myself because we're getting to the end now, is Christian Bale's Batman Begins suit. I know some people rank this higher than the Dark Knight suit. I do get why, because I have a weird relationship with this suit. I like it for so many different reasons, but I really just don't in other ways. One thing is, it was really good in its time. Don't get me wrong. When I saw this movie, it was just mind-blowing. I think we can all agree with that. The Nolan series was incredible. And Batman Begins, there's so many good things about this Batman Begins suit. For example, the emblem, I wish they kept that. And in some shots, it really does look fantastic. But in other shots, it brings out the other things I just don't necessarily like about it. For example, I've seen this suit in real life as well. The rubberiness to it is just way way too distracting for me. A big thing about Batsuits as well, for me personally, is the neck. If he can't move the neck like that well, it really bothers me. It really, really, really does. And this one, I feel like Christian Bale had such a chunky tube to his neck, where it's just, in the movie, when he turns away in a shot or anything like that, it's just so obviously distracting and impractical. And how can he really fight like that? You could say that about the 89 suit. I don't know. And there's ones maybe in above this that have a similar aspect. But at least the Dark Knight suit didn't have that, for example. That's why they changed it. This is why I feel like you could blend the Batman Begins suit with the Dark Knight suit and make a much more brilliant suit out of it. Because don't get me wrong, the Dark Knight suit has definitely got its flaws, and we're going to get into that. I think the ears on the cowl are a bit too big for me, but overall, I do appreciate this suit. Christian Bale does look fantastic in it. In certain shots and certain poses with the cape flowing over him as it, it's going over his arm, it looks wonderful. But there's other shots that I'm probably showing you on screen right now, which I feel like really aren't flattering for it. And this is why, I guess, for me, it's at number 5. Now, number 4, it's hard for me at this point because in ranking videos, there's things I appreciate about these different suits more than the other suits that are higher than it, for example. But overall, you have to choose in rankings, and it's almost like you always want to switch it around. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that if you had to literally decide to a T which Batsuit is better than what Batsuit. So bear that in mind. I have struggled at this point. Now, Ben Affleck's Batman. We're going back to him because number 4 is the Justice League Ben Affleck Batman tactical suit. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the armored look to Batman. And he does look fantastic here. Ben Affleck in... One thing is, I prefer Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne. Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, sure, like, it's cool, but, like, it's not my Bruce Wayne, so, for example. But his Batman, and when he is in the suit, he is goddamn veteran Batman. And in this armor, he looks like Batman. Don't ever take me wrong here. He looks like a awesome Batman. I get the Night Owl vibes with the eye shields there and the goggles, if you will. And I think it's a bit too chunky of an armor. I get why some people may say, but Boba, like, it's for practical reasons. He's this is a Justice League movie. He's going up against quite a lot. But for me, it's above, obviously, the Christian Bale suit. For me, it's very comic book accurate in the way that the BVS suit is, and that's just a beauty to see on the screen. And the production of this suit is just absolutely stellar. I mean, imagine getting in this thing, though. That's another thing. But the thing about the Batsuits, and I'll say this about the upcoming BVS suit, because it's very obvious that I rank it above this one, it's the neck. I don't like the neck. It's just so chody. Do you know what I mean? It's so thick. And I think it's better here, though, than what it is on the BVS suit. And I know technically he can move his head in this, but it's just, I wish the molding was more skin tight, but maybe they were concerned that it wouldn't look as cool because he needs his striking neck muscle extruding bits to that cowl going into the cape and into the armor to maybe come across cool, whereas if they made it very skin tight, it may have looked crap. I don't know. As cool as this suit is, as amazingly designed as it is, and as great as it looks in certain shots, and obviously in how it maintains the BVS Batfleck design, it's not above the suits that I'm about to talk about. In at number 3, ladies and gentlemen, and Bat family, is Christian Bale's The Dark Knight suit. Now, this suit was a massive improvement, I feel, on the Batman Begins suit for the reasons I spoke about. However, there are aspects to it that I feel I wish they didn't change. One of those I've already mentioned, the logo, but it is so clean. I feel like it is a natural progression of what Bruce would do from the Batman Begins suit to the Dark Knight. I like the way they tackled that and how he can move his head now. Obviously, look how like clean cut his neck is here. Compared to the absolute tube that was on his neck before. I still don't understand that. I just can't. However, the thing about this suit is, as much as I love the new armor approach, and even though it still is rubbery, very rubbery, but like it feels like a little bit less because of the details they incorporate into it, is that there's too much details, and that is in the legs and also a little bit in the abs. I feel if they made it a bit more blocky, for example, like they did in the Robert Pattinson's The Batman suit, it would look a lot better. Or even, to be honest, from the Batman Begins suit. Like, I just feel like there's too much effort here to make this all Lucius Fox technological. And I still do like it. I just feel like when you get the full image of this suit up, all of these different sectors of padding that he's got going on his thighs, his quads, down to his freaking legs, I feel like it's just a bit too much to appreciate there. However, it's still a great suit. I really do like it for so many different reasons. Now, number 2, some of you may have guessed it, is, or maybe you haven't, because there's only 2 suits really that I haven't mentioned up until now properly in a ranking, and that is Robert Pattinson's Batman, the Batman suit. Now, I was a little bit scared to put this in here because I know so many people might be like, what the hell, how can you put this in here when the movie isn't even out yet? But come on, we've got over 2 minutes of freaking live action footage of the movie where you see him more than enough in multiple different angles to the point of where I think you can judge the aesthetics of the suit. Obviously, the movie's going to give us so much more of a look, but from that of the actual set photos to what we actually see what this looks like when it's being rained upon, being beat upon in action scenes, all kinds of different things, being shot at, like, we know what this suit looks like. But the only reason I'm not putting it at number 1 is just because I feel like I haven't spent 2 hours looking at it solidly. Maybe I have done that before, I'm not gonna lie, but you know what I mean. I do love this suit for so many different reasons. I think the usual criticisms of it, though, are understandably the cowl, but this is a Batman Year 2 suit, yet it still really does confuse me why the cowl doesn't have better protection. I've mentioned this a billion times in how, in the point of the trailer where Robert Pattinson's Batman gets shot at, if that thug would have aimed higher with his pistol, his cowl wouldn't have protected him, he would have been dead. So, like, that's very risky, especially as he got shot in that scene in the first place. That means he got shot, like he wasn't going to avoid that either way, so if that was a bit higher, you get my point. But other than that, the cowl design, like the actual structure of it, is impeccable. It probably is what I imagine to be the perfect cowl in terms of shape. One thing I really do appreciate about this suit as well, even if we get a second suit in the movie, is that I love how homemade it is, yet also accurate Batman at the same time, because obviously a lot of this is taken from some like kind of police rioting gear kind of thing, but it's formulated in such a way which pertains to so many awesome comic book accurate Batman looks. I'm not even a guy who likes collars on the Batman, but the way they did it here wasn't too extreme. It wasn't like Gotham by Gaslight, but it was low-key enough that it fit in with the make of the suit. Just going off what I've said before as well, the blocky design of the torso area, it is armored, and I do say I prefer a bit more of a flatter kind of Batsuit, but this isn't like mega chunks of armor like on the Dark Knight suit everywhere. It's simplistic blocks, which isn't too distracting, but it's also stylized, aesthetically pleasing at the same time. Whereas, as I just said, the Dark Knight suit felt there was too many little tidbits to it, where it's like, okay, that's just a bit too much. It's too much. Whereas this, it's like he's armored, it's low key though, but it's also pleasing to look at. But I truly believe we have looked at it enough to know that I love this suit. I want to call this number 1. I really do. But I think I have to reserve that for, I think, the most comic book badass suit we've got yet. Just based on that reason alone, it's such a good comic book adaptation. And that is the Batman vs. Superman Batman suit. Even though I really don't like the neck. I just don't like the neck. Does anyone else feel like that? So the Batman vs. Superman suit at number 1, and no, I'm not talking about the armored one. That's like an honorable mention, I feel. I mean, actually, it is a Batsuit. It's freaking awesome. I should have probably labeled that somewhere in here. But if we're talking about everyday wear and tear Batman suits, the Batman vs. Superman suit was just, the next Batman suit since Nolan. And it looked incredible. Whether that's from the teasers Zack Snyder had for us alongside the Batmobile, and all of us were screaming in absolute fangirlism or fanboyism, whatever. Dark Knight Returns. Look at how good Ben Affleck looks there. Even when I say the neck, just looking at these shots, it still looks so good. I think there's just a couple of shots in BVS, like when Doomsday is there and he's just standing there with his little gun. It just looks so unflattering. I just feel like the BVS, Ben Affleck Batman, whether you're talking about the warehouse scene or whatever, it is just a personification of Batman visually. That's the way to tee this, because that's what we're talking about. Visual Batman designs here in the Batman suit. When it's in the armor stand, when Bruce just, takes away that little armor cave thing, it's just absolutely a a Bat fan's dream to look at. And it incorporates aspects that I love about seeing in Batman suits, and how it's not always completely skin tight, but it's got that cliche, almost comic book look to how are they always in the comics looking so skin tight, yet how do they get so much protection? It's got that vibe to it, so it pertains to the comic book looks, but it is armored in ways where you believe that, oh, you know, with enough, I guess, technological materials and padding, subtle padding that it's got, and if you're a bad enough vigilante to not be hit a whole bunch, it can withstand the damage that you can imagine Batman going through. And that's the combination I think every Batman suit needs to strive for. Whereas obviously, like the Adam West one, for example, it's like, oh god, ow, like you could get completely shanked easily. But with this suit, it looks... this is why it's number one. So guys, I know that was a long, weird, dragged out, rambly video, but those are my rankings of the live action Batman suits. I'd love to know your thoughts on it down in the comments below. What is your top 15, or just maybe the ones, I spoke about in this video. Let me know why you may have disagreed with me about certain ones, but ultimately it is about different opinions and tastes, which is completely understandable. I'm sorry, not sorry at the same time if I offended any of you with any of my logical reasonings or tastes and preferences on some of the rankings of the suits, but hey ho, it's just how I feel. And I would love to know, to be honest, do you agree with me that the Robert Pattinson suit, from the paparazzi shots, from the trailer shots, that we have enough to judge it in this ranking? I certainly do. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on it. Would you like to see more videos like this, maybe in terms of Batmobile rankings and stuff like that? Let me know. But other than that, Bat family, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.